Hello everyone, today we're gonna read A.J. Masura's Detective Camp, Chapter 8. Let's read Chapter 8 together. Chapter 8. The kids jogged toward the trees behind Moo's cabin. When they came to the fence, they vaulted over it. When they were in the woods, Dink stopped short. "What's the matter?" Ruth asked, catching her breath. Josh flopped on the ground. "Guys, I think Mademoiselle is stealing the paintings we saw in that secret compartment in her trunk," Dick said. "Stealing them?" Josh asked. Dick nodded. "Can you think of another reason she'd have those paintings hidden inside the trunk like that?" "Maybe she just doesn't want them lying around where anybody could see them," Ruth said, "especially that Grandma Moses, which is really valuable. Or she could be waiting till the paint is dry enough before she frames them," Josh put in. Dink shook his head. "The paint is dry," he said. "I felt it." Dink stood up and brushed the pine needles from his knees. "Well, what should we do?" "I don't know," Dink said, "but I'm going to keep my eye on her and that trunk." Ruth looked at her watch. "We have 3 minutes to get to the picnic table," she said. "Detective Rob will be waiting for us." "Maybe we should tell him about what we saw in the trunk," Josh said. "I don't know," Dink said. "I could be wrong. Anyway, we'd better get over there." The kids jogged to the picnic tables and found places to sit. Everyone else was there. Mademoiselle Mosey was standing next to Detective Rob. "So how many of you have followed your card clues and found the map pieces?" Detective Rob asked. Almost every hand went up. Only a couple of kids, including Josh, had not been successful yet. "Okay, maybe you can find them later today," Detective Rob said. He turned to Mademoiselle Mosey. "In case you haven't met her yet, this is Mademoiselle Mosey. She has a fascinating job. She cleans and restores old paintings," she said. "She lives in France, but was hired by the Darbys to come here and clean their paintings. She has seen thousands of signatures, and some of them have been forged. Right, Mademoiselle?" She bowed her head. "There are many clever forgers out there," she said. "Will you tell the kids how you can tell the difference between a real signature and a forged one?" Detective Rob asked. "Of course," she said. "There are 4 things to look for." Dink noticed that she was still wearing white latex gloves when she raised one finger. "First, study the overall look of the signature," Mademoiselle Mosey went on. "You may not be able to say exactly what it is, but there is something different about this signature." She held up a second finger. "Next, the length of the signature. Each time we sign a name, our signature is almost exactly the same length. Try sometimes, but forged signatures are often shorter or longer than the actual signature." She went on to describe how a forger would lift his pen off the paper as he studies the signature he is trying to copy. When the forger puts his pen back on the paper, he leaves a tiny space. Sometimes, she went on, there will be a space and a tiny ink blot if the forger is using a ballpoint pen. Mademoiselle Mosey held up her fourth finger. "Most forgers are nervous," she said with a little smile. "Their hands tremble as they are forging a name. Experts can spot signs of these hand tremors." She told Detective Rob that she had work to do. The kids all clapped, and she disappeared into the house. "How would you like to see if you can all pick out a forged signature. Detective Rob asked the kids. Cool, one of the Bear Cabin boys said. Detective Rob passed out a sheet of paper and a pencil to everyone. Each sheet was covered with signatures. In each row of 3 signatures, 2 is real and 1 is a forgery, Detective Rob said. Circle the one you think it is fake. Dink glanced down at his paper. He saw George Washington, Elvis Presley, and a bunch of other famous names. She looked for spaces between letters and tiny blots of ink. In the George Washington row, he circled the one signature that was shorter than the other 2. After 5 minutes, Detective Rob asked the kids to stop. Now I'd like you to try forging a signature. Pick any name on your paper and try to copy it exactly. I think you'll find it pretty difficult. Detective Rob walked around and looked at the kid's paper. Say, that's an excellent replica of Abe Lincoln's signature, he said as he walked past Josh. I bet you draw or paint, am I right? Josh nodded. I like to draw a lot, he said. I thought so, Detective Rob said. You'd make a good forger. Hey Josh, forge me a check out for $1 million, Brendan called out. Everyone laughed except Dink. He put his pencil down next to his paper. The thought that had been buzzing in his brain was like a bee in a bottle finally surfaced. It's almost 11:30, Detective Rob called out. We have to stop now. Tomorrow I'll show you how to find and lift the fingerprints. Don't leave yet, Dink said quietly to Josh and Ruth Rose. The 3 of them stayed seated, while the rest of the kids wandered toward the cabin. Detective Rob picked up his coffee mug and went into the kitchen. Josh looked at Dink. What's going on? You look like you set an attack. I figured out how Mademoiselle is stealing the paintings, Dink said very quietly. I think she's making copies of them and keeping the real ones. Josh and Ruth Rose just stared at him. What do you mean? How do you know? Asked Ruth Rose. I can't prove it, but listen, Dink said. He started by telling Josh and Ruth Rose about the yellow paint he'd gotten on his pajamas. When we snuck in to return the ring last night, I looked at the painting she left under the towel. I must have dragged my sleeve across it, Dink said. The paint was still wet. We thought that the real Remy Moses painting, but I think it was a copy that Mademoiselle painted. I think she hid the real one inside the hollow door on the trunk. We just saw it there. So where's the copy? Josh asked. Dink remembered the stack of framed paintings on the sofa. I think it's in the great room, waiting to be hung on the wall, he said. When the Darbys see it, they'll think it's the real one. They never know the difference, Ruth said. They just think she did an excellent job of cleaning it. Dink nodded. Remember how Mademoiselle told us Grandma Moses painted on fireboard? Dink asked. Well, my dad uses fiberboard for projects. It's really her stuff. He has to cut it with a power saw. The painting we saw on the under the towel had really smooth edges, like it was cut on a modern saw. But the painting inside the trunk door had rough edges, like they were cut by an old person with a handsaw. What a scam, Josh said. I'll bet she looked up all the Darby's paintings in that book of hers. When she found ones that were valuable, she made copies and hid the real ones in the trunk door. Detective Rob walked out of the kitchen with a fresh mug of coffee. You 3 look like you're up to something, he joked. Dink made up his mind. Detective Rob, can we tell you something? He said, it's pretty bad. The detective nodded and sat on the kid's bench. Of course. What's bothering you? Dink repeated everything he, Josh, and Whitworth had talked about. When he got to the part of finding the paintings inside a hollow trunk door, Detective Rob raised his eyebrows. Have you told anyone else your suspicions? He asked Dink. Dink shook his head. He felt better now that he told someone, but his heartbeat was still racing. This is a serious accusation, the detective went on. Still, I can see how it's possible. Mademoiselle Musset told me she was a painter first, and then turned to art restoration. When she realized that the Darbys owned some valuable paintings, maybe she couldn't resist the chance to make some easy money. Do you think she was planning to sell the paintings she hid? Josh asked. Detective Rob nodded. More than likely, there are plenty of art buyers who don't care where paintings have come from, he said, standing up. Don't tell anyone what we've talked about. I have to make a call and put some things in place. Then I'll have a talk with Mademoiselle Musset. Detective Rob looked down at the kid. And stay out of the lodge, he said. And now that is the end of chapter 8. Oh my god. Really? Mademoiselle Musset stole the paintings and copied the real paintings like Grandma Moses painted. And they hid the real ones in the trunk. And he tried to sell it in a real expensive money. I can't believe it. Maybe Dink was wrong, and Mademoiselle Musset was just cleaning, and maybe the wet painting that was on Dink's sleeves was what Mademoiselle Musset drew again because it was broken. But I agree with Dink. I agree with Dink. I mean, while I was reading, I was really shocked. And I think Dink is right. I think Mademoiselle Musset stole the paintings in the trunk in the hovel. I don't know. Maybe Mademoiselle Musset got caught by the police in chapter 9. I don't know. Oh, and also, we only have to read chapter 9 and chapter 10, and we're done with Detective Camp. See you next time with chapter 9. Bye!